Bank and insurer Suncorp has warned investors that its profit will be hit by a wave of claims amid the worst spate of natural disasters in 40 years. Aside from large-scale catastrophes like the Christchurch earthquake, smaller natural hazards for the year to date have led to $226 million in claims. The company is hoping to make up some of that lost ground by growing business in its banking arm. But Suncorp is not alone in chasing the sluggish loan market, and some banks are starting to look beyond Australia for profit growth, as Michael Yander reports.
The low-hanging fruit's long gone. It's now a question of how the pie's carved up as Australia's bankers try to grab a bigger slice of the mortgage market. Graham Mott's a senior banking partner at Deloitte and author of its Australian Mortgage Report. He says recent mortgage rate discounts reflect the tougher conditions in a market that might even start shrinking.
You know, we'll be lucky to see growth this year, and I think that's likely to be the case, is probably flat growth. So what that has driven is the competition across the big four, and all the activity you're seeing around pricing is being led by the fact that you can no longer rely on system growth to deliver that profit benefit to your bottom line, and also satisfy your investor needs.
Without being able to rely on economy-wide loan growth, banks are being forced to squabble on price. And Graham Mott says that's already hurting profit margins.
Traditionally, the banks have delivered a 20% return on capital, or close to. This year, I think we're already seeing the majors try to position that lower. 15 to 17% type return on equity should be the norm, and that's a reflection of that tightening margin that you talk about.
And if the major banks are getting squeezed, life is even more difficult for smaller, lower-rated lenders like Suncorp. But its management's told an investor briefing it's hoping to benefit from negative campaigns run by the Big Four against each other.
While the majors are busy breaking up with each other, we're helping the customers join us.
Suncorp's also planning to use its large insurance customer database to help sell more of its banking products.
Because we have 35% of the general insurance market, we have a big customer base. When you go out there, look at how our customer base is now being used by each of the business units. Look at the way Direct Life is pulling out the information from the general insurance, selling products under well-respected brands, but at low cost because they don't have to do the research and marketing and advertising.
At the other end of the spectrum, global banking giant HSBC's also noticed a slowdown as Australians go on a debt diet.
We've seen some slowdown in the beginning of the year, particularly in the retail banking market, with consumers much more cautious.
But its solution has been to exploit its Asian roots to build a new market with less competition and much higher growth potential. HSBC Australia is now offering deposits and trade finance denominated in the Chinese renminbi to cash in on the growing business links between the two countries. The bank's Australian Chief Executive Paolo Meyer says globally the amount of trade settled in renminbi could hit $2 trillion in as little as 2 years.
We've seen a lot of interest. We actually started to do some trades in renminbi at the back end of last year, and that's why we saw demand from our customers, more interest. We see the renminbi becoming more and more an international currency, and eventually becoming fully convertible in the future as well.
Graham Mott says local banks are also looking at Asia as domestic loan growth stalls.
The big banks, as I said, need to look offshore for growth. And they are looking offshore for growth. The elephant in the room is China, and I don't think there's a clear strategy yet as to how best to tap into that opportunity. But all of the banks are looking at it, and I think therefore the opportunity lies there for everybody.
But Australia's banks wouldn't be alone in wanting a seat at China's table.